We got a shocking Padres free agency update to get to. One of the all-time fan favorites is in danger of getting swooped up by an AL East team. We're going to talk about all that in just a second. But what's going on, everybody? I'm Christian Pedersen, the host here at Digest Media. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get all season long the best Padres takes delivered right to you. You don't even have to go searching for any of the videos, and you can help us hashtag beat LA. We've got to catch Dodgers Digest by the end of the season in terms of subscribers so that we can put that good juju out into the world that the Padres will beat the Dodgers in the regular season. All right, let's talk about it. This video is all dedicated to this man right here, Jurickson Profar. He was an all-star last season, and he did something that every Major League Baseball player wants to do, so I have no animus towards him, and that is have your best year in a contract year. He goes out and sets all sorts of career-high numbers. You can see right there, those were all-star stats. Had a better first half of the season than he did second half of the season. So yeah, you can make some sort of an argument that he fell off, quote-unquote, or whatever. But look, if you're an all-star, you're an all-star. You're one of the best players. You're one of the most popular players. You are rightfully so at the best part of your game, and that's what Jurickson Profar had last season. On-base percentage, RBIs. Like, we don't have a stat up here for like clutch hits, but there was a fair amount of those that were also just general momentum shifters. But that happened in a contract year, and now we still have no updates on what's going on with Profar. The Padres front office has said that they like him, that they're interested in him, but they haven't come out and directly said anything saying, like, here is our plan, here is what we've offered him, here's what we want to offer him. It's sort of a let's wait and see, cat and mouse sort of playing chicken game to see if we can get to get to spring training and then offer him when no one else has offered him. But all that to be said, I think the Padres are kind of dropping the ball. Look, I know that Jurickson Profar probably wants more money than he is necessarily worth, given that he's a 31-year-old who had his best season just now and is on the wrong side of being a prospect. He's now just a major leaguer now, and what are you going to get him? Lock him up for 10 years into his 40? No, you got to give him something in that 3, maybe 5-year spectrum, but what are we going to do? Pay him $25 million a year, $27 million a year, $45 million? He's not necessarily, even though he was an all-star, he's not necessarily that kind of an all-star. So what do we do with Profar? Well, I think we sign him, but we haven't done that yet, and that's where latest reporting comes out that the Boston Red Sox are the team that is linked closest to Profar. They have an outfield issue. They need a right-handed bat, and it seems that they have not been able to land anybody else, so they have moved to allegedly wanting Jurickson Profar to be their guy. Now, Profar, look, I think that, like I've said, he is an all-star. He is a clubhouse guy. He's not necessarily a plus-plus outfielder defensively, but he can play all of the positions, so he is ultimately the ultimate Swiss Army utility knife, and I think that that's something that the Padres absolutely need to do in terms of locking up a player. Is a guy who, if another Jackson Merrill comes along and we have another outfielder and he needs to get bumped over to be the platoon DH second base, great, Profar can do that. Profar needs to play some third because Manny wants a day off, great, we can do that. He can be a guy who maybe is a little overpriced for what the value of his contract is in terms of $26 million utility man, but I don't think he's somebody that you want to let go because partially we've already seen that happen. He left to go to the Rockies. There was a little bit of a pullback that season. Then he came back. The Padres had another great season, and that's maybe apples to oranges a little bit, but it's also maybe not. Maybe there's a little bit something else there. That baseball is a sport where you want to have some clubhouse enthusiasm, consistency. This is not football where you can lock into that business mindset. 16, 17 weeks. We just got to win. Baseball, everyone has to be friends. Everyone has to like each other. It's 180-ish days of being with each other day in, day out, all the time. A lot of travel, just a lot of being around your teammates. And sometimes teams can have all the talent in the world, but then it just falls apart when you don't have that dude. And I think Profar is that dude per the Padres culture. So I think they need to lock him up big time. But I I get where they're coming from on some of this, that it can be a little bit hard to nail down a player that, maybe wants more than he's worth. I somewhat disagree with him being, overvalued or overpriced or anything like that. Show you this quote here, and I get that it's a little bit of a long one, but this is from Mike Shildt, the manager, commenting on the situation. We're not naive that there are certain organizations that have just more competitive advantages. That's no state secret. He goes on to talk about, Padres don't necessarily have the top tier resources, but he closes it out by saying, that ultimately, you just got to show up and play ball, and you got to configure out a way to compete and, win with what you've got. So he's obviously ready to compete without Profar, and he's acknowledging that, hey, we can't necessarily back up a Brinks truck for every single superstar that rolls through town. But I think that Profar is somebody that the Padres absolutely need to go after, and losing him would be bad. It would be a bad sign on a couple of different levels. It would be a bad sign because we've already had a pretty zero type of offseason. We haven't brought in any namesake free agents. We've only let people go. So losing yet another one, especially one that the fans and the teammates and everybody really loves in Profar, would be a very red flaggy kind of sign. And, if he goes to the Red Sox, we're not necessarily losing him to somebody in the division, so it's not the worst, but it's just sort of, what's next? Well, are we gonna have to, miss out on a mid-tier release? Like, you start to slip a little bit as a franchise when the public perception comes that you can't sign or retain anybody. And then what are we talking about? What's really going on then? So that's the update that we got, is Profar is now allegedly linked to the Boston Red Sox in terms of their interest in filling free agent roles. And we have no definitive plan or announcement, at least publicly, from the San Diego Padres. Not to say that the Padres aren't working behind the scenes to try and nail down a deal with Profar, but it seems as of right now, Padres are in danger of losing yet another big name free agent this offseason, which I think would be a very, very bad sign. But let us know what you guys think. Drop a comment whether you think Profar could stay, should go. Maybe you like him on a different team. Maybe you think we should sign and trade him. Let us know what you think. And like I said, hit that subscribe button so you get all the Padres Digest news dropped right into your feed. Talk to you guys soon.